Welcome back to another moment with Day Mobile Media. Hope your day is going well. We're having a terrific time. We are here in the studio, currently remotely located somewhere in Kansas City, Missouri. Ladies and gentlemen, here in the Midwest, we're having a good time. I hope you're having a good day. A few things. Let's just talk for a minute. Let's just talk. You we'll talk politics today, just for a minute. Just for a minute, talk politics. On one side of the equation, you have someone who stands for the United States of America, wants to see America be successful, wants to see the people, the citizens of America, if you will, be successful, make a lot of money, enjoy life. On the other side of the equation, you have people that are lying to you. You have, in my humble opinion, okay, let's make this clear. This is just my opinion. We're just going to have Aaron's Opinion Day here at Day Mobile Media. And for what it's worth, okay, who knows? Maybe I'll make some sense to some, and maybe I won't. But my take is, as I said, on one side of the equation, you have people that get together, they have a good time, they're happy, they enjoy life, they're pretty, drop dead gorgeous gals, and they laugh and they have fun and they joke. They're not offended if you say, "Hey, pretty lady, how are you today?" They don't get offended if you say, "Hey, you want to go dancing?" Their husband doesn't get offended. Their husband kind of pats himself on the back because he knows he has an attractive gal standing next to him, and that it's only a dance. It's all in fun. It's all good nature. There's nothing malicious about it. On the other side of the equation, you have people lying to you. You have people telling you what a terrible country you come from and how rotten you are because you have some kind of privilege that doesn't exist. That you should follow orders because it's the right thing to do. I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that at all. I do know this. I do know that as a child, my father, we grew up at Lake Tahoe, Carson City, Reno area in Nevada and California. And my father thought it was really important that I know about the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and our government and what being an American citizen was about. And in the fifth grade, a family vacation consisted of Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the Liberty Bell, the Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty. Another family vacation included the cherry trees blossoming in Washington, D.C., a trip to see the Constitution of the United States of America. This, my father felt, was important. So, as an American citizen, we understood what it was all about, that we had some kind of comprehension of what being a citizen was about. And my father felt this way because his father immigrated from the Azores. His father was from Portugal. My grandmother, or his mother, her parents were from Germany, and they left before Hitler actually took power. They left when Hitler was on the rise. And yes, as a child, we were filled with horror stories of what went on in Europe before the real horror stories started. It wasn't a pretty sight. As you could imagine, for a child growing up, could be a little terrifying to hear that stuff. But I also heard stories of how aunts and uncles and family members from that generation would walk the railroad tracks to pick coal up and bring home to put in the wood stove because coal burned hotter than wood and it burned longer than wood. because things were so tight. Sugar rations, coffee rations, how Grandma went to work because Grandpa went to the war. Those stories were true, and they were shared with me. And sometimes, when you put things in perspective, it gets a little rough. It gets a little tough to deal with what you see going on in this country right now. It's very difficult. I have a lot of admiration for military, law enforcement, first responders, and those of you who know me and know me well might be surprised at that. As those of you who don't know me, I have been the guest of a couple governors. And I've always never found blame in somebody else's actions other than mine. I never blamed drug abuse. I never blamed child abuse. I never blamed domestic violence. I never blamed anything for my behavior. It was my behavior. Now everybody is at fault and everybody else is responsible for somebody else's behavior, and it's just a bunch of madness. Nobody, people are confused of which bathroom to use. Somebody on the thing there today was talking about everybody has a period, referring to women's menstrual cycles. That's a confused individual that needs some serious psychologizing. I'm sorry, but if you have an outie, you go to the boys' room. If you have an innie, you go to the girls' room. That's just the way it is. So that I don't understand. I do not understand the indoctrination. I do not understand what is going on in our education system anymore. In the 5th grade, when I went to Philadelphia, the Liberty Hall, those were my assignments. That was how I got my history credit. I got to write a report about the Liberty Bell. I was one of the grooviest kids in class. I got to write a report about seeing the Declaration of Independence at Independence Hall with my photographs. I got to show those to the class. That was kind of a cool thing. Now we want to tear the building down. Now we have to take statues down. Now we don't understand what Ben Franklin was about, or what he did, or how he went back and forth overseas to negotiate contracts with France and England and try to make things into a peaceful transition instead of having a war. They don't teach that kind of stuff anymore. Why they don't teach that stuff? For 4 years we've been hearing about Russia and a certain party bitching about a peaceful transfer of power that we have never seen during this administration. And I think it is worthy to take note of that, ladies and gentlemen. It is worthy to take note, because they're already setting up how they want to steal this election and go after, we're going to arrest Donald Trump. We're going to get the military involved. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. You know what? I know a lot of people that are buying guns right now that have never, ever thought they would have to buy a gun to protect their interests. There's a reason they want to take the Second Amendment away, ladies and gentlemen. There's a reason they want to get rid of the police departments. There's a reason they want to use 5G technology. There's a reason they want to do certification of vaccination ID. It's time, as a people, we take a deep breath and back our Jeep up. On that note, I am going to pause for a minute, and I am going to let somebody speak on a subject matter that may very well be the cause of what is going on and why our attention is being diverted at the left hand waving at us while the right hand is picking our pocket. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Eliza Blue.
Censorship. As the whole world talks about Section 230, let's talk about the facts. The numbers that you're about to see are from a New York Times 2019 article. They're reported from 2018. Since this article went to print, the numbers have skyrocketed. During the COVID-19 lockdown, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children have reported a 126% increase in reported child sexual abuse material. A large portion of this child sexual abuse material is reported from Twitter and Facebook. Twitter and Facebook repeatedly leaves this material up for way longer than it should be, despite the fact that the technology exists to take it down. Not only does the technology exist to take it down, it exists to use facial recognition to potentially save victims' lives. So just remember, the next time that Twitter or Facebook is censoring your favorite politician, a news article, or folks that they don't like, remember what they choose to keep up and what they choose to take down. They're profiting off of this material. The caveat is that Section 230 has FOSTA-SESTA amendment in it, which makes it wrong and illegal to have this material up. This material is a human rights violation every single time.
You're looking for inventory selection with your CBD oils in 125, 250, and 500 milligram strengths. Tahoe CBD is your complete sublingual tincture and e-liquid enhancer. Stop. TahoeCBD.com. That's TahoeCBD.com. 1-800-580-1655. Give Jack and Stacy a call today. Made in the USA. They will get you squared away. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. A little word from our sponsor there, Tahoe CBD. Yes, Jack and Stacy at Lake Tahoe, California. Look them up on the web, TahoeCBD.com. That's TahoeCBD.com. They'll get you squared away on any CBD oils that you require. They also have a product called Bud Bionics, which is very good. It's an organic plant food. But back to what Eliza was saying there. You know, we have all this stuff about conspiracy. And I find it just personally ironic, if you will, that everybody's screaming about conspiracy, and the two biggest conspiracies, YouTube. One of the things on YouTube, if you look at their terms and conditions, it says we can delete your videos, we can restrict your content, and they specifically point to two things: QAnon and Pizzagate. And of course, Pizzagate, the pizza parlor in Washington, D.C., owned by Elefantes, is supposed to, I don't know, I've never seen it, I haven't been there, I've just seen photographs that are pretty disturbing, but it's a conspiracy against pedophilia. QAnon, as Mr. Trump said, pardon me there, whoa, good lunch. But as Mr. Trump said the other day at the debate, I don't know anything about them, but I understand they have, something against child trafficking and pedophilia. I don't have a problem with that. Not a bad response for the President of the United States. Find it refreshing that we finally have a president that will say, hey, child trafficking, human trafficking has to stop. It's not a good thing. That's not how you treat your fellow man. And I find it ironic that everybody that is screaming about Pizzagate being a conspiracy, about QAnon being conspiracy theories, happen to be the ones the fingers are pointing at for pedophilia and child trafficking. And it makes you wonder who and just how deep and how big and how complacent it goes. And I want you to think about something for just a minute. Polly St. George put a lot of dots together, spent a lot of time putting these dots together. All of a sudden, her content is gone. Years of content gone. Massive following on YouTube gone. Her PayPal account taken down. Am I going to be next? Because I won't comply, I won't bend, I won't bow, I won't take a knee and kiss the ring? As a people, we need to stop and think about this, ladies and gentlemen. They want to put us on an electronic, a digital, an e-commerce. Everything is e-commerce. It's on the web. It's on this. It's on that. Microsoft patent 2020060606. You need to look that up. I put a couple pictures, slides in here of what I turned up when I did a relative simple search on that patent. It is for digital cryptocurrencies. And I want you to think about something for just a minute. If you want to send Polly St. George a couple bucks for her efforts, and she does fantastic work, and she deserves a couple bucks here and there. If you can help her out, help her out. She does a lot of good stuff, brings good information to the table. But they took her PayPal account down. So if you want to do something for her, you have to mail her through this, what they refer to now as snail mail. You have to send her something in the mail, a money order, a check, whatever. You can't do something electronically to where she has your $20 donation in a 24-hour period. I'm fortunate right now. Maybe I, shouldn't poke the bear too hard, because that is my major means of income. But if we start looking at what is going on here on the big picture, the grand scale, let's say, like Polly, she doesn't want to take a knee and kiss the ring, neither do I, and I don't think many of you do either. I don't think anybody really truly wants to be treated in that fashion. But if they put us all on cryptocurrency, electronic digital currencies, what happens if we, in their eyes, misbehave this week? They shut our money off. You have a child, you can't go buy milk. You can't buy butter. You can't buy eggs. You can't buy bread, peanut butter, and jelly. You can't feed your kid this week. They're going to make you do what they want you to do, huh? That's something to think about, ladies and gentlemen. It's just really, really, really something to think about. And let's get back just for a minute to what Eliza was saying. The numbers during this, and many people are saying this has been planned. It's not as deadly. I mean, there's a lot of stuff starting to come out right now. The one video that I produced, I've had to put it on a platform just for safekeeping, but it referred to this being a planned, organized ordeal, that the coronavirus, beer bug, Trump virus, China, I don't care what you call it. Okay, I call it the beer bug. Just for future reference, it's the beer bug, okay? That way I can't be called a racist. I can, maybe I'm being prejudiced towards alcoholics or something, I don't know, because I want to call it a beer bug in this politically correct insanity world we live in now. But think about this for just a minute. There's a nasal flu type thing that they give your children, and the symptoms, the side effects for this nasal vaccine, if you will, or vaccination, but this little nasal spray, the side effects are the exact same symptoms as the beer bug. How do you think they're going to give us this spike in the beer bug? It's that time of year to where we start spraying all that stuff in children's noses. They're the ones that don't have the beer bug. They're the ones that are pretty resilient when it comes to fighting it off. My mask video was taken down when I explained to people why wearing a mask is kind of a hazard. Maybe some people took offense. I wasn't trying to offend anybody. I was just trying to state facts that if you use a little bit of basic 8th grade biology, 8th grade science, where they teach you about health and about how your sinuses work. I don't know if they do that anymore. I'm not sure. I don't have children that go to school, so I don't know. Maybe one of my listeners can help me out if you have children and they go to school. Do they teach health? Do they teach how your immune system works? Do they teach this stuff anymore? Because I'm finding they don't teach a lot of what I learned anymore. They teach how to hate. They don't teach how to move forward. And what really, 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 truly aggravates me the most are all these $1 million people that are making millions of dollars because they have benefited from America's social mobility, and they want to condemn America. They want to tell us how to think, while they have benefited from the social mobility to make millions of dollars. Calling you Traitor Kaepernick is a prime example. LeBron, I'm dumb as a box of rocks, James is another example. People making billions, literally millions. I want you to think about something when you go buy a pair of LeBron James tennis shoes. They're made by slave labor. They're made by slave labor in China. That's the environment you have. You're either in the group with the money, or you're in the group that makes everything so the group in the money can have the money. That is how socialism and communism works, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't know, again, I don't have children, so I don't know if they teach that in school anymore. You know, one of the things, when I wrote a paper in sociology on communism and on Marxism, as we call it, my take on it was that in theory it is a great theory. Everybody's the same. Everybody is on the same. Everybody gets a steak for dinner, a chicken in every pot, and all that kind of crap. Just one thing. I don't want a steak dinner. I want some eggplant parmesan. I want some marinara sauce and some pasta. I don't want a steak dinner. What that theory, and Marx kind of gets a bad name because he came up with this theory of government and society, and he had the guts to write about it. Is he a bad guy? I'll let you decide that. That's not for me to say. But here is my take on Marxism, if you will, communism, socialism. You have an element called nature of the beast. And when you put everybody in the same uniform, you put everybody in the same clothes, you put everybody in the same income category, you put everybody in the same food category, the same thought process, the same education system, you do not factor in the nature of the beast, and the nature of the beast dictates at some point, I'm sick of being like Joe, and I don't want to be like Joe anymore. And I'm not trying to offend anybody named Joe. I'm just saying, I'm just grabbing a random name. But that's what it boils down to. And that's where you see unrest start. You want to end up like Venezuela? They're down there eating the animals out of the zoo because there's no food in the country. And this is a country, think about it for a minute. They have one of the richest oil reserves on the planet. Why is that country broke and rioting and people leaving the country? Because one party is in control and they control the money, and nobody has social mobility. Nobody can go out and make a living. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to turn the floor over once again to Eliza Blue with a statement that she has, and then I'll be back to wrap this up.
You do realize that big tech thinks that you're stupid, right? Big tech definitely thinks that you're stupid. You know how I know that big tech thinks that you're stupid? Because they censor the content that you see. They think that you're too stupid to do the research and find out what's factual on your own. So they think that they have to fact check it for you. The fact that you're even putting up with it is unbelievable. I want you to stop and think about that. Big tech thinks that you're not smart enough to figure out what is a factual story or what is a conspiracy theory. And they're so terrified of different opinions catching some steam that they'll censor it at every cost, which inadvertently has the Streisand effect. I mean, being banned on Twitter inadvertently had the Streisand effect for my Twitter profile. Banning the New York Post piece inadvertently had the Streisand effect. So every single time they censor opinions and ideas, it inadvertently has the Streisand effect, which inadvertently grows things more. If they actually cared about those things, they would just leave those things alone and let the people decide. Let the people decide, like, okay, is Eliza Blue speaking about facts or is she not talking about facts? Are other, multimedia platforms, are they talking about facts? Are they not talking about facts? Is this group, is this movement talking about facts? Are they fact-based? Man, let the market decide. Why are they out here trying to tell you that you're stupid, that you can't decide on your own? But the joke's always on them because it always has the Streisand effect. So it is wild out here. But don't let big tech make you feel stupid.
Some very entertaining food for thought, ladies and gentlemen. Censorship. And it is a big thing right now, and we need to stay focused on our Constitution. It's a choice we all have to make. Do you want to be... remember this, ladies and gentlemen. We allow the governors to govern. We elect them. Or do we? And that is the closing note today. Think about it. Is there voter fraud going on? How do people keep getting elected over and over and over and over and over? And we know they're committing crimes. Censorship. Now they call it fact-checking. It's a form of censorship. Who are the fact checkers? What qualifies them to be fact checkers? How and who and where do the people get their education to determine what is propaganda? Keep in mind that a former administration between 1988 and 2016 signed into effect that it was okay to use propaganda. And that is exactly what Goring did. He used propaganda. He brainwashed a generation of children, and then they took over power. They took over Europe. They used, all through the 30s, they brainwashed a generation of children and then went to war with the world. That said, ladies and gentlemen, that said, I'm going to wrap this up and get out of here for the day. I do hope we've shined a little bit of light on what's going on in the world, and hopefully you will look at what they're saying about conspiracy theories. Are they a conspiracy theory? That's not for me to say. It's for you to decide. And the only way you can decide is by looking at the facts, listening to what's going on. To everybody out there, Eliza Blue, thank you for the contributions again this week. Tahoe CBD, check them out. Great product. They have some great products up there, TahoeCBD.com. Of course, you can find me AllidayMobileMedia.com. Great article coming up on pumpkins. It's that time of year. Happy Halloween. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Get the jack-o'-lanterns ready. It's that time of year, ladies and gentlemen. You can also find me on the Parler, on the Twitter, at Alliday LLC for Alliday Mobile Media. Let's have a great day, and let's all be safe out there, huh?